Thank you for joining us for the OCOMAcast. I'm your host, Eddie, and today we're joined by Mark Longbreak of the Omaha Film Festival.
Hey, what's happening?
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm good, yeah.
Good.
So what are we doing here today?
I don't know. I'm kidding. I know exactly.
Great.
We're talking about the Omaha Film Festival.
Love it, yeah. So we just got off of our 13th annual Omaha Film Festival. So it's been a great ride. You know, we started back in the mid-2000s, and it's been a lot of fun. So we're coming up on our 14th year, and we have our call for entries, which goes out to the nations.
Yeah.
This last year we had entries from 76 countries, which it still blows me away to see that, like, oh, someone from India or someone from South Africa like sent a film to Omaha, Nebraska.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that kind of stuff blows me away.
How
so
fun.
Yeah, so 76 countries entered last year, and we ended up showing like 90 films last year over the course of 6 days. So yeah, so it's a trip. It's a trip to create a little thing here in Omaha and assume that it's going to be kind of a small, you know, Nebraska, Iowa, maybe South Dakota, maybe Missouri.
Exactly.
And then, you know, it's international. So it's been pretty cool.
How crazy.
Yeah.
And then you throw something out there and have it thrown back at you and just be that much bigger.
Yeah, you just never know. So yeah, it's been a good deal.
And to walk around the actual film festival and see the look on your face. Like shock. Shock and awe.
Well, I think it's just how my face looks in general.
That's true.
I think
That's
so.
true.
Yeah.
So give us a tiny bit of history. So where, in your brain, where did it come from where you go, there's no film festival, I want to do a film festival?
Yeah, it's a great, so we have our origin story, right?
Yeah.
So Jeremy Decker is the festival director, Jason Levering is the executive director, I'm the program director.
Sure.
The three of us went to a little film festival out in Kearney, Nebraska, just a small performance theater. There's a card table with a projector on it and like a little screen on stage, and it was all like locally produced short films. I think there was a documentary, there might have been a feature film, and we sat there and we watched all these films, and they weren't great, but it was still a, you know, it was a camaraderie situation, and all the filmmakers were in the audience. And where it really hit home for me was after the evening or after the day of watching films, we went to the bar and all the filmmakers were there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm sitting in a room at a table with 20 people that are like me.
Yeah.
You know, a bunch of filmmakers and a bunch of people that are into movies, and I mean just movie talk for the rest of the night. So
Sure.
So we're driving home after a couple days of that, and Jeremy's, you know, in the back seat, and he's like, "Why doesn't Omaha have a film festival?" We're like, well, yeah, why don't? Why,
well,
you know, we're a big enough city, we should, you know. So we're like, tell you what, you build it, and we'll be there to support you, and you know. And then he loses his job, right? So he's unemployed. He's got a wife, and he's got a mortgage, and he's got a kid. So you know, go out and get a job. Nope. He thinks, oh, I'm going to research how to do film festivals.
Oh, wow.
So he spent 4 months, literally, like day and night, researching the heck out of like what does it take to make a film festival. So he's on message boards, and he's like talking to directors of other festivals and reading books.
Yeah.
And built the framework of what we are today. So, and that was 14 years ago.
My goodness.
Yeah. So
from a why don't we do this
right
to this.
Yeah. And you know, and Jeremy really surprised me, and Jason and I were like, sure, yeah, let's do it, you know. And man, he really put a ton of time and effort into it. And again, you know, that first year we thought, oh, here we go, it's going to be a small locally thing. And I think that first year we had entries from 22 countries.
Wow.
So right
then,
right off the bat, we hit the ground running.
Man. When you wrap up one year, when does the production on the next one start for you guys?
So it depends. Like my joke is we take a day off. So you know, it's usually not the next day, but the day after that.
Oh, good.
So Tuesday,
Good.
we'll take that day off, and then we'll get started.
Wow.
Our program director, our volunteer coordinator says it's a 13-month festival. So you know, we spend the year round on it. So before one wraps, we're actually working on stuff for the next year. Because there's a lot of things that have to go in place. You know, we have to get all of our marketing. Our design, our graphics, you know, all that stuff. And then our call for entries starts in May typically, which is just 2 months after the festival. And then we've got 24 judges that are watching films and reading scripts throughout the year in preparation. So last year we had close to 1,000 films entered. So that's a lot of watching films.
And that's one thing you led right into my next question is you guys watch all the film.
Every minute of every film.
Right.
And that's a commitment that I've kind of made and put into our judges. So if you want to be a judge for the festival, like that's great, but this is what you're up against. You know, you're going to have close to 200 feature films, narrative feature films, and you have to watch every minute of all those films. And we don't want to have like this judge watch some films and this judge watch some films because they have different tastes, right? So make every judge watch every minute of every film. So it's a pretty huge commitment, but I think it's the fairest way to do that from a judging perspective, and from, you know, if I was a filmmaker, which, you know, I am a filmmaker,
Right.
and that's how this all started. That's the most fair way that I can think of that I would want a film festival to handle the material that I make.
Well, yeah.
And one of the things that I say is, if someone has, of the 5,000 film festivals that are out there, if someone has found our festival and has paid our entry fee, the least we can do is watch their film, right?
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
so that's what we do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's got to be a full-time gig for whoever volunteered, too.
It is,
I am
yeah.
watching 10
Yeah.
movies tonight. Or
And I can
whatever.
explain it, and I can sit across the table, and I can say, "This, you're going to watch a lot of films," and they're like, "Oh, that sounds
Sure,
good.
man, I
sounds
love
amazing."
movies.
And then, you know, come September, they're like, "What did I sign up for? What are we doing here?"
So many movies,
Yeah,
so many
exactly.
films. So one thing that you did that's a little bit different is you do a workshop for young aspiring filmmakers,
Yeah.
right, through this?
Yeah, that's something that we're super proud of, our OFF Academy. So
Yeah.
everything, if you look at Omaha Film Festival, OFF, that's our acronym that we use
love
for
it.
everything. So we have our OFF Academy. And it's a 2-day workshop that we have for high school kids and middle school kids. And what we do is we bring in filmmakers from around the country. We'll have screenwriters from Los Angeles, and we'll have like local cinematographers or whatever. And then they'll do workshops for 2 days. So you can come in as a high school kid, and you can go to films in the evenings and watch the Q&As and do
Yeah.
all that stuff. But this is a real 2 days of intensive. I can sit for an hour and a half and listen to someone who's in the business talk about cinematography, or I can listen to someone who's like doing this for a living talk about editing or screenwriting. And it's a pretty great way to bring in the kids, you know, kind of raise them up and, you know, expose them to something that's pretty cool. And they're not all going to go and be filmmakers, and they're not all
Right.
going to go and be screenwriters. But what we hope is at some point, education is, you know, part of it.
Sure.
But we also want to entertain them, right? We want it to be fun,
Right.
but we want to inspire them, right? So that's our 3 pillars of the OFF Academy. So that inspiration piece, you can go and you can listen to someone who's a screenwriter who's in the business, who's doing really, you can see their movies in the theater.
Right.
And you're not necessarily going to be a screenwriter, but you're going to be inspired by what they have to say. So you can take that if you're a musician, or if you're write poetry, or if you just
Right.
want to, you know, get along better with your siblings or whatever. Hopefully you're being inspired to do great things.
Well, seeing how something that you care about is made brings that whole appreciation back to you. Like,
Right.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea it took this.
Yeah.
With that, where is this typically held at now, the Off Academy?
So we usually try and keep the Off Academy, so it's during the festival. So the festival always runs from Tuesday through Sunday, right? So we run it through, and it's always in the evenings, then Saturday and Sunday during the day. And then Thursday and Friday during the day is where the Academy is. So the Academy is usually like pretty close to the theater.
Okay.
So we have an opportunity for the kids not to have to go, you know, clear across the city or whatever.
And
so.
the theater you do it is the Marcus
Yeah.
Theater over at Village
Yep,
Point? Yep.
exactly.
Yeah. How do people find out more information about the Omaha Film Festival?
Well, there's a bunch of different places. You know, we have omahafilmfestival.org is our website, and we keep, you know, most of our information there. But we're super active on Facebook, so there's always like pictures and videos and like behind the scenes stuff, and we
Yep.
have time lapses of like the lobby space being filled up, and so there's a bunch of cool stuff on our Facebook page, and we're pretty good about answering email and Facebook information. Our Twitter feed is just basically our Facebook feed that goes out as well. There's a bunch of great pictures on our Instagram account too, so you can check all that out. But if you go to our website, omahafilmfestival.org, there's links to all that stuff, so you can check us out and follow us and like us and do all the things that you do on social media.
All those followings and likings and
Exactly,
all
right?
that stuff. Well, hey man, thanks for joining us.
Of course, yeah.
And thank you for joining us for this episode of OComicast. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the OComicast. I'm your host, Eddie. And with us today, we have Chris Edmonds and RJ Frost from Capers. Hey guys, thanks for joining us.
How are you doing?
So tell us a little bit about Capers. Like, what is Capers?
Well, we repair costumes and props at conventions. People come up to us and, oh, somebody stepped on the train of my dress, or my Harry Potter wand broke, or the heel fell off my shoe. We get a lot of stuff like that.
What a smart idea. Like to just like, I mean, obviously at conventions, there's going to be people in costume walking around. And to have that be a thing, most people either have like a catastrophic failure and they have to leave or go home and fix it. Where did this come from, like as an idea for you guys?
Okay, we've been doing stuff
Well,
like this forever.
Yeah, it started off as we were kind of like a show and tell. Chris and I have been, designing costumes for 10, 12 years now. and we've been showing up to conventions as just kind of, here we are, look what we can do type thing. And
Sure.
Chris would always bring her sewing machine with her because she was always fixing stuff of mine. And
Or
people
doing
would-
stuff in the last
Yeah,
minute.
so-
That's next level. Bringing a sewing machine with you, you're like, I brought this.
Yes.
it never leaves her side. So kids just kept coming up to us and say, hey, I see you have a sewing machine.
Yeah.
Can you fix this? And we got to thinking, why don't we just, instead of being a show and tell, why don't we just turn ourselves into a repair booth?
Yeah.
Because you see it at conventions where people will dress up with a bunch of sewing needles and thread, and you have to find them.
Right.
But once we get established at a convention and we're in a specific area, kids just always know where we are, what we can do for them. And gosh, it's just been like that ever since. She sews anything from the wings to a plane.
To a plane?
To a plane.
I worked on my brother's airplane, single engine airplane.
Oh my gosh. Chris, we need a plane, quick! Make the
could-
plane! I'll be right there!
If she can fix that, she can fix anything.
I was going to
with her
say,
needle and
goodness
thread.
gracious.
And then I work on people's props and foam armor and whatnot, and we just trade back and forth. So
Yeah, and it's all free. We don't charge anybody for
All free, yeah,
anything.
all free.
And we come with a bowl of candy.
Oh, and candy too?
And candy. Always come with candy.
Oh my gosh. So this is clearly a labor of love for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so give us a couple I want to hear a story at least from like, say Comic-Con where someone comes to you with something that's just like,
I get a lot of morph suits.
really?
They're not
Morph suit.
they're
What is-
not made too well.
Okay, what's a morph suit for
That's
those who
the
don't?
kids who, a lot of them are Deadpool,
Okay.
the all onesie
Oh,
outfit,
okay, yeah.
and they're not held together real well. So it's, can you fix my glove?
Oh, yeah.
Things like that. I get
Yeah.
a lot of morph suits.
I've learned Batman doesn't always have everything in his utility belt.
Oh, he
So Batman definitely makes a come by our table all the time.
shows up a little, the ear snaps off.
Every year, every year.
Harry Potter ones,
Lots of Harry Potter ones.
snap it out.
Errant magic just going all over the place.
Speaking of magic, yeah, we had a kid dressed in, his entire costume was based off of Magic the Gathering cards.
Oh, wow.
So his axe, his helmet, his entire costume, Magic Gathering the cards. So we were gluing on cards.
It just so happens I have a spare deck right here.
Exactly.
So did you think to even have that as a thing in your toolbox of spare things to have was magic
We've
cards?
got so many weird things in our toolbox. So I mean,
We come with Band-Aids, Kleenex,
For the crying.
lint rollers,
Oh
everything.
my goodness.
the biggest requests we get is needle and thread, the hot glue gun, duct tape, and contact cement.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just on site.
Yep.
Cosplay triage. Speaking of that, you came dressed up today.
I did. So this is Zorg from the movie Fifth Element.
Love it. You want to stand up and show us kind of
Absolutely.
the whole business? Oh my gosh. I love this shirt.
So this was designed completely by Chris Edmonds.
Oh wow.
Off the movie.
Yeah.
Down to the exact fabric that they used in the movie. Lots of emailing with the guy who actually created all the costumes for it, and finding out where they got their fabrics from.
My goodness
Yeah.
gracious.
The only thing we did differently is like this ecclesiastical
The back of the
back of it.
Yeah.
It was, he was always trying to get with it was the priest, so I thought the priest
Oh,
garb
that's a smart little
would be
addition
fitting.
there.
Yeah, it's just one little tweak that we did to it.
And is that shirt completely handmade by you?
Oh,
Is that-
yeah.
Oh my goodness
Yeah,
gracious. That is
and the
amazing.
vinyl, and he went through a vinyl stage.
Yeah.
I hate vinyl. Vinyl and fake fur.
My vinyl years. My goodness gracious. So you're going to be at this year's Comic-Con,
Oh, yeah.
correct? And you have an entire table and everything just set up for helping fix everything that goes wrong.
Every
Oh, yeah.
year,
Oh
every
my
year.
goodness. Have you seen an uptick in certain costumes, like more people dressed up as a certain character?
Not really. It seems like it varies every year.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you get some of the big elaborate costumes, And then you have people come with really simple things.
Oh, wow.
And some of those are even more impressive than the big fancy ones. And
Do you-
stuff. So,
Chris, do you find that also like a teaching moment too, where you might see like a technique happening that you can kind of,
well, there was one young guy walking around, and from a distance, he looked like a pencil drawing. And I'm going, how the heck did he do this?
yeah,
And so when he got closer, it's like, come here, come here, come here. And he had taken an old suit and painted, you know, like a black outline, stripes and shades of gray and stuff.
Yeah.
And from a distance, he looked like a pencil drawing.
oh, wow.
So it's like, okay, that's cool.
So it kind of goes both ways. You're
Yeah.
learning new techniques too. Oh, how fun.
Well, and we got people constantly coming up going, I just inherited my grandmother's sewing machine. I don't know if it works.
Oh, wow.
So.
Oh, so you get
give
some
them a
sewing
little-
machine education as well.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I have a,
Yeah, I was gonna say, every time somebody comes up to us and something needs to be fixed, we'll usually tell them, well, if you hem it this way, or if you glue the foam like this together, that seam won't bust apart. So yeah, we're always trying to help the kids
Right.
learn why this problem happened as we're fixing it.
So not only do they have their problem taken care of, but they walk away with a little knowledge as
Absolutely.
well.
we try.
So where does someone find out more information on capers?
We're,
Well,
we're just at the convention.
yeah,
Okay.
we just show up to conventions, but I do have a Facebook page.
Okay. So can people contact you through Facebook too if they wanted some sort of ideas or any sort of like tips on
Absolutely.
some cosplay?
If you look up me, Vault 303 cosplay and creations, you know, you can ask me there, or you could just look up my Facebook page, RJ Frost and
Excellent.
Chris Edmonds, and
Awesome.
message us
Yeah.
directly.
And we can look for you also at O-Comic-Con as well.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna, oh man.
It's like, why is it taking so long this year for a convention? We need O-Comic-Con.
It's coming.
Yes.
It's on its way. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining us on this episode of O-Comic-Cast, and thank you for watching. Hello and welcome to the O-Comic-Cast. I'm your host, Eddie, and today we have with us the author of the Surface series, Matt Hebert.
It's nice to be here.
Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So tell us about the Surface series here.
Yeah, the Surface series is a trilogy of sci-fi novels. I started writing Beneath the Surface, book number 1, when I was in high school at Bellevue West 14 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So I was a junior at the high school there, and it kind of started from a daydream that I had about the school being underwater and being more interesting than it is. I kind of wanted to create my own version of a Harry Potter. Instead of magic, they're stuck underwater.
There you go.
So the back of the school is an airlock, and there's submarines, and I just continued to kind of tinker on it through college. And then 2015, I finally self-published it through Amazon, and so after people started reading it, they were asking about the sequel, so I started on the sequel in 2015, got it done in 2016. That's Breaking the Surface, picks up right where the first book leaves off. And then after that, I gave myself a little bit more time to write book number 3, which is Beyond the Surface. Beyond the Surface is a little bit longer than the other two because it has to wrap up the entire series and kind of bring closure to the entire arc and not just the storyline in that book. But it also picks up right where the second one left off.
Right.
So books number 1 and 2 had these really obnoxious cliffhangers, which people told me you can't do that as a nobody because people aren't going to want to, they're not going to. But I've had a lot of people excited about reading the third one, finishing the series. I think altogether, with all 3 books, I'm approaching 1,000 units sold.
That's awesome.
So I'm really excited about it, yeah. And there's a bit of relief to have it done also, but I'm very happy. I was very lucky to come to the end of the process and the effort right as my inspiration was kind of waning. So I didn't want to, I was very
it's nice
lucky.
those two kind of went
Yes,
together
you
instead
don't-
of like the inspiration dies.
is dead and it's just this thing that I hate working. Yeah, so that worked out really well. I'm very excited for it to be done, and it's a lot easier. If I go somewhere, have a table set up, and I'm selling them to people. I don't have to promise them that I'm going to finish it. It's done. It's a complete thing that they can buy. So.
Right, and you can market and package it as thusly.
Exactly.
So the question I have, this is amazing. So you started the book series when you were in high school, technically. I mean, so
Yeah.
this is as a person who goes out and creates things, it's a great thing for other people to hear, because so many people self-defeat, I think, when they hear, oh, I had a great idea, but it took forever, so I just didn't do it. I mean, this is a thing that has been going on for a long time.
Yes, a very long time. Not quite half my life, but I've been writing since I was a kid. I started writing when I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And that's always just kind of been this compulsion of mine. Besides maybe cooking is my other big creative outlet, writing is just a thing that I have to do, or I'm afraid I might explode.
Yeah, you get weird.
I get weird, yeah.
Matt's getting weird, he's got to write.
Right. The moon comes out and I start scratching my chest. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of self-created obstacles. A lot of people just get distracted.
Yep.
I have a bunch of other writing projects that I've gotten the main ideas down so that I don't forget them, and then I had to come back to this because I figured it's better to have one thing done than 10 things that I can tell people about.
Yep.
But I have a lot of those, and now I have an opportunity to start digging into those next. So
Well,
I'm
and I think
excited about that too.
this gives you fuel for the next thing.
Absolutely,
You know?
absolutely, and learning lessons from the logistical side, getting it published, things not to do. With it as a product, but also from the creative process, I've learned a lot also on what does and doesn't work for me. I have no idea how people write in coffee shops, for example.
Right.
Never attempted it. I was in one today, and they're very loud.
Yeah.
So I didn't. I have to write at home. The TV can't be on, otherwise, it pretty much works anywhere. So.
Yeah. It's funny how there's a process for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. I can't get anything done when there's that much people watching.
Yeah.
You know. So you partnered up with an artist as well.
I did, yeah. So I go to a lot of different conventions. I go to a lot of different shows, and it seems that a main theme is that people want to see more from the books. They want to see products. I have some T-shirts now that I'm selling. I'm kind of excited about that. And so I partnered up with this guy named Justin Schillerberg, and he's a local artist, and he designed first my main character Simbato, and there he is, a redheaded hero. It's not just for sidekicks anymore. And then his co-main character through the second two books, he meets this young lady in the first book, is Kaluna, and she's of Hawaiian descent, and so you can see themes of her culture and her environment here, trying to cover up this kind of submarine facility that they live in.
Right.
And then again, Simbato standing here with kind of an underwater scene back behind him. So we sell these, and we include them when people purchase the whole trilogy, and that's something that really connects with a lot of people. I really love the artwork, so Justin and I are going to continue to work together as well.
Is that kind of the idea? Is maybe go deeper into the books and pull out different characters as well and start drawing them? Or
There are. These are the two that I really wanted to get down on paper. There's some maps. I was always intrigued, reading Tolkien and seeing some of the extra material in the beginning. There's some ideas, and then the travel in the second book, especially. I go through. There's a certain point where they're moving across the Pacific Ocean, and I'm actually putting down. They're checking the heading. You're looking at the latitude and longitude, and so you could go back through and try to see how they kind of meander their way across the ocean, and so I'd like to include something like that in a collection. So the ultimate goal here would be to include these two character designs, all these additional maps and artwork that I'm talking about in one entire collection, all three books in one. So.
Oh wow!
But I have time to do that. But
yeah, now that this is all behind you, the writing part of it all.
Yeah.
I was going to say, as you chart the Pacific Ocean, I mean, are you actually doing some research now at this point too, to start seeing locales that they're going to be hitting and putting on your maps?
Yeah, it was a good outlet when I was dealing with some writer's block, just to do some technical things.
Yep.
That goes throughout all three books. In the first book, for example, there's this kind of giant diving bell that they find themselves in, and it starts to become untethered from the ocean floor. And so I actually, as you know, my education is in engineering, so I actually went through the physics calculations to see, okay, if I want this thing to jump all the way out of the water when it reaches the surface, how big does it have to be? How low in the ocean does it have to be? Did buoyancy calculations.
Oh my
And that was just a way to, you know, I'm still working on it. I'm still getting into the material, but it's not, I'm not stuck on a paragraph. And so I've done those kinds of things throughout.
Yeah.
Just to make sure makes a little bit of sense. Then there's other things that people will point out to me, like submarines don't have viewing shields in the front. And I do a little bit of this to figure out what
you got to play with it.
So in the future, they're concerned about the environment, and the sonar and radar have negative impacts on the aquatic life, and so they've mandated that submarines have to have viewing shields instead of using traditional radar. So I do those kinds of things, and then thumb my nose back at the people that are.
I love it.
Yeah. So that's a fun creative process too, is figuring out, kind of retconning, why is this way? And I did a lot of that by book number 3, and it ended up forcing me to flex my creativity more. So.
Man. So where can people find information on your books and you as a person in general? How do they get a hold of you or order these books?
Well, yeah, just put out my phone number.
Do that. Or don't.
So I have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Surface Series. Also, if you Amazon search my name, Matt Hebert, these are the first results that pop up, with some glowing reviews now even for book number 3, so I'm excited about that.
Nice.
So you can contact me through that Facebook page. You can find the books on Amazon and also in Kindle format and Kindle Unlimited, so that if people are concerned about taking a risk on a local artist or some unknown guy like me, then they can do that with less risk.
Perfect.
Well,
Well,
and then, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Real quick, I was also going to say I'm also working on recording all of these. People keep asking about audiobooks, and I think there's an extra gee whiz factor when the author is reading them themselves, and so I'm working on that this year. Also got some recording equipment at home, and
Well done.
yeah, I'm really excited about it. So.
You're just not resting on your laurels at all, are you?
No.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Matt, for joining us on
No,
O Comic
thank you.
Cast, and thank you.